Hello, everybody, and welcome again. I'm Srishti Chipde, and you are listening to the Purple Science Podcast. Before we even get to the episode, I want to congratulate each and every person in this country for the historical achievement of ISRO. With Chandrayaan 3, India became the first country to reach the south pole of the moon. For people who don't know why that is important, well, at the lunar south pole, the sun does hover below or just above the horizon. But even during these periods of illumination, there are regions of deep craters which are always casted by dark shadows. So they are perpetually protected by darkness. Scientists suspect that these regions, these deep craters, might have deposits of ice preserved for billions of years. And that might be very important to the humanity. I don't have to tell why. I have linked down my sources below. I insist that you explore more. Right before this historical moment, I got the chance to talk to an amazing space communicator. What is a space communicator? You'll get to know more in the episode. Today's guest is Rashmi, better known as Astro Roxy. She is a content creator and an ISRO recognized space tutor, which are just two of the many things she does. Currently, she has over 50,000 followers on her Instagram who engage and interact with her videos regularly. You might want to check out her page, also linked in the description below. We talked about a bunch of things about what astronomy is, how does a career in this field look like, how does science communication in astronomy work, all of her very interesting expeditions in astronomy, and a lot more. I know that this episode is going to be very fun and informative for you all, like it was for me. If you'd like us to talk to her about Chandrayaan 3 specifically, if you want us to make an episode dedicated to it, then you'll have to let us know in the comments. Otherwise, how would we know? As I said, this was an amazing conversation, at least for me. I know that you're gonna enjoy it too. So let's get to the episode. Alright, Rashmi. So, to begin with, I'd love to know all about your cool story of getting into science. And we are interested in hearing about the key influences, events, everything that shaped your interest in the field and then led you to pursue a career in it.
Lovely. So, when it comes to science, I should say I was not particularly interested into it or knew what I wanted to do in life, even when I was in high school. So, I used to think maybe I'll become a teacher or maybe I'll become a doctor, like my parents used to say, but not necessarily what I will do on my own. It was when I saw the Cosmos TV series by Carl Sagan, not by Carl Sagan, by Neil deGrasse Tyson on this National Geographic channel by accident. One day I was just watching something and I happened to watch or catch a glimpse of one of the episodes. And that's when I started watching the whole show. It used to guess come every Friday. And I came to know that there is this field of astronomy and there are people who study the universe and there are colleges in India which can make us study this field. So suddenly, a girl who was not really sure what she wanted to do in life, she had a focus that, okay, there is this something called astronomy. We have some prestigious colleges to study that in India and outside India. And if I work really hard, maybe I can become an astronomer and I'll be paid to study the stars and answer some of the most biggest questions in the universe. And that seemed too tempting. And I remember when I was in my 10th class, the teacher was asking everyone to introduce themselves and what they wanted to become. And I went like, hello, I'm Rashmi, I'm from Haryana, and I want to become an astronomer. And everybody gave me a blank look, even the teacher. And the teacher was actually not that encouraging because he asked me, do you even know what an astronomer is? I was taken aback, but I answered him, yes, I know what an astronomer is, and I know what is the pathway to become an astronomer, and I am going to become an astronomer. I answered that very confidently, and then he said, okay, all right, let's see. I wish you all the best. Astronomer is a type of a scientist, and then he went on to ask that questions to other students. So in 10th class, in 11th class, I had decided that I am going to become an astronomer. I had seen some of the things that I wanted to study. So eventually I ended up choosing this bachelor's of physics for my college degree, and I started studying it. Even in my college, when my professors used to ask, Rashmi, what do you want to do or what do you want to become? I always was ever confident that yes, I want to become an astronomer, and this is the exam that I'm going to prepare for, and this is something that I want to do. And then they used to come at me and tell me, no, no, don't become an astronomer. That field, you have to study all these subjects, or, instead you should go for, this field of physics, or maybe you should go for this thing in teaching. You will become a good teacher. Prepare for the UPSC exam. So everybody always used to tell me that you can do this, you can do that, because they did not necessarily had seen people becoming successful astronomers or women pursuing such unpredictable or an uncertain career path, and they are all wishing well for me. It's just that they did not had seen some role models, so they were not able to push me. But yet I had internet, and I used to see and learn everything from the internet. So I used to find online courses and study them, solve the exercises, and even attend webinars even before they were cool, before COVID. All of these things, one by one, I used to do. And I remember even in college, I realized that studying science or doing research is something I may enjoy, but what I love doing even more is exploring the informal side of learning science and informal science of dealing with the whole thing and not the formal way. And I was really confused whether to pursue science and astronomy through academia or outside of it. Should I go for this side or that side? And I was still, I guess, in my second year of college, and things were getting very fuzzy. And I had attended a webinar by SETI Institute, which is the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence Institute. And there I had asked this question, this same doubt. And I remember the panel of women astronomers that were present there, because it was a women in science discussion, and they were promoting girls and other women in general to study astronomy. And they just gave me one advice, which was, Roxy, you need to just get good at one thing, no matter if it is in studying, if it is in outreach, if it is in making something, building something, talking about something. Find what you actually love and you're passionate about, and you become so good at it that you are the best in the world, and you are able to provide this skill in any place that needs it. And other women who were present. So this advice was given by astrophysicist Jill Carter, and even the other women astrophysicists who were present there. They give some lovely advices, and that pushed me that if such established astrophysicists who I look up to, they are telling me that yes, you can explore other areas of becoming or pursuing a career in astrophysics, but whatever you do, even though you might not able to see a direct career path towards it, or it may not be exactly what your teachers tell you, or you're not sure what exactly to do, but whatever you decide to do, you have to be really really good at it. And that's how I thought I will start making videos in astronomy. Apart from pursuing it however I was pursuing it through academia and through jobs, this was something that I explored, that one way of learning about science and doing science. For example, currently I'm working on making sundials and exploring them and the science and the technology that the ancient people, the ancient astronomers used to have. So I will pursue it wholeheartedly and become so good at it that when other people even get a glimpse of my work, they will be, it's like a switch is going to turn on, and they will not be able to easily forget me or my work. That's not something that I say, but I should say that is something that Instagram tells me, because I have a following of more than 33,000 people, and they interact with my videos. And if I attend or if I host a live session, they're always present there, and they're asking me these questions, which I don't always see in a live classroom or somewhere else on social media. So it tells me that I'm on the right path, that I am actually becoming really good in the way I am doing science and learning and exploring science, especially astrophysics. and the other people are actually enjoying that process too and finding that inspiring.
Indeed, very, very inspiring. I'd like to highlight some points that you mentioned. It is very, very true that the people around us, our school teachers, our parents, they might not necessarily be trying to stop or restrict your progress, but they just don't have enough examples in these newer fields that we are choosing. And all they see here is certainty. So we need to also understand and sympathize with that. But you did the absolute right thing. You relied on the already available sources and collected as much information about the field as possible. You attended all of these webinars, workshops. I think that was the very right thing to do. You went through the pain of being that example yourself for others, which is great. And I also really like what you heard in the workshop you just mentioned. Yes, you have to master one skill to survive in the market, but it doesn't matter what skill you choose. You can choose something that you resonate the most with, that you think is the most enjoyable, and that you can contribute the best to. So, that is very, very important to know and understand. I'd also like to take this opportunity to ask you if throughout your journey you had any mentors in your life that guided you, assisted you through this, or did you get that kind of exposure in college to get like at least a window into this field, so to speak? Or you had to solely depend on these external sources?
I would say in college, I did not had any exposure to astronomy. It's like from the side of the college, because I remember the reason I chose that university is like in fifth semester in my college, there has to be a unit or a course on astrophysics and astronomy, but there was none because we had no professor who could teach that course, and instead we had to study something else in physics. And even in my class, like all the batchmates that I had, because I used to go to planetarium and I used to tell my classmates that yes, I'm going to a planetarium. You should also come. There's a night sky event or there is this seminar happening. They did not necessarily used to join me, even though they had the information. So what I feel is from my college, I did not had professors who would be interested in teaching astrophysics or even telling what should be the best pathway to follow it in India, or even my friends in my class, in my batch, they were not open to it as well. But I had exposure to astronomy through the planetarium, through the Nehru Planetarium in Delhi, which is a very vibrant place, at least in my time. There used to be students from other colleges of Delhi. Some of them had the professors who could teach them astronomy. Some of them had a similar case like mine, but yet we used to gather there. We used to explore astronomy and physics broadly in our way. We used to sometimes hold monthly the stargazing sessions and discussions on the space movies, science movies, and it was a very, very vibrant and happening place, because of which I got this enthusiasm that yes, even though in my class nobody is really interested into astronomy as much as I am, if I look outside, if I make my circle a little bigger, I will be able to find like-minded people. And that's Delhi was the first place where I had met people who were actually passionate about pursuing a career in astronomy as much as me or even more than me, and they have now went on to pursue a PhD in astrophysics as well. So that was the place. But what I did was, because I was exposed to the planetarium, I was able to get information of the workshops and the conferences that were happening all around the India, whether they were online or offline. So I had attended multiple conferences in or workshops in summer school and winter school in Hyderabad, in Jaipur, and even went to Sriharikota to watch the rocket launch. So all of these things were, I should say, steps that were taken through either exposure at the planetarium or things I used to see on the internet and I was like, yeah, this seems something that I will be able to enjoy, and I should be able to learn more and meet more like-minded people. The biggest pushing force to actually go to these events was I will be able, let's say, I will be able to meet another girl who is interested into astronomy as much as me, and we will be able to, talk about how we will pursue it, or simply talk about the universe.
That's really nice, that you've had these experiences. Although, ideally, I'd like these things to happen in the college itself, the college or institution that you're studying in, because that's what these places are for. But well, I'm really glad that you've had access to all of these planetariums, these shows, the community, which clearly tells that if you really look for them, there are opportunities all over. However, I'm a little surprised that your peers were not as moved by astronomy as you were, because the excitement in astronomy is very contagious, at least in our country. Everybody loves it despite of age, backgrounds. Who doesn't love to, stare at the night sky? So that's a little interesting to me. I'd like to know why that was, and now that they have an example in you, do you think that has changed their perception? And more interestingly, because there are metrics that are very this generation understands the number of likes, followers, subscribers you get. So when they look at these metrics, do you think that this has changed their perception towards astronomy in any way?
So, what I feel about astronomy and interest in astronomy is either you are interested in it or you are not interested in it. It's something that, like, until I had not watched that series, I was not actually um, what should I say, exposed to the beauty of astronomy and the grand questions it asks. I was not actually exposed to it. So unless somebody is exposed to astronomy in this way, they might not able to relate it or find it practical to spend their time learning about these things. It feels very, let's say, superficial. People tell me that why do you really wonder about where is Saturn in the night sky? Like it's not like it's has an effect on us, or it's not going to pay the bills, or it's not really that much. So most of the people, they don't get the essence why astronomy should be studied. And I guess that's fine, because similar things happens with the other fields of science too. Maybe not everybody gets down to why we should care about our body, and the type of medicines we should eat, or the type of chemicals that we have around us, and what type of utensils we should use, because they don't get down to the chemistry of how things happen inside or outside a utensil, or how the diet that you use, or the medicines that you eat, or all of these things. If they have been never exposed to it, and if it's not that easy to understand, or they're not able to see any benefit of learning this information, they might not learn it, and they will be happy to pursue a career in something, and they are very focused into that. So astronomy, even as a hobby, is, I guess, very rare to find. There are a lot of people who love this field, but still the percentage is very, very small in the entire country, if I should say. And so it was very hard to, let's say, grab them or tell them, yes, just visit a show. Planetarium has a 15 minutes movie, and you'll be able to see how moon was formed, or different types of stars. So all of this was not interesting to them, and it's not like they liked astronomy and they did not had a career path which was laid down in front of them, and so they were skeptical and not interested. It's just that they it never clicked for them that yes, astronomy is a beautiful thing that they can learn or explore. So for some people it is, for some people it is not. And my peers, which I'm still in contact with, they know me as somebody who really went on to become a bit different from how she used to be in class. Because in class, I used to be very introverted and mind my own business, and people never really knew what is going on in my life. I was not even that active on social media. But now they see how traveling to different places and talking to different personalities across the world, and doing things which sometimes seem cool or sometimes seems a bit breaking the stereotypes. And they feel, I guess they would feel that yes, this is all a result of pursuing something not that common, or pursuing astronomy. Like, she legit spent 4 to 5 years of her life pursuing this thing, and now these are the kind of things that she is doing. So if somebody else in their life asks for advice, or if they mention astronomy, definitely I guess they will be more than happy to encourage them in one way or another. But yet, I don't think those people, even after seeing my journey or seeing my content, have changed their mind on actually what is astronomy. I remember one of my friends, she told me that she used to watch my video not because she finds them fascinating, that okay, we have a huge telescope JWST launched, and it's going to study the universe in this new wavelength, but because it's going to come in her exam. And she was studying for one of these competitive exams. So I mean, like, even that made me happy that okay, at least for one reason or another, she is interested into learning some of the facts and interesting discoveries that we have in this field. But I don't think my content or anything that I have done has been able to still ignite their interest in this field, which I guess can be said for most people, and that's why we have such a limited population who is interested into it and pursues it as a hobby or as a career.
Now that you say this, and now that I think about it, I think that the issue, or not even an issue, the thing is that people are interested, they might not necessarily go into the depths of the subject. And I think it's fine. It just increases our responsibility as science communicators to make sure that the important information, that the correct information reaches as many people as possible. So that's a very important takeaway. I also have more questions on these lines with regards to your content creation journey, but I'll before that, on your profile, while looking at your profile, I saw some really interesting, intriguing terms that I've never heard of before. You've worked in Astro camp as a travel educator, and you've also worked on a science park. So I'd love to know more about this all in one multi creative project of yours.
Yes, yes, sure. So this was again back in the second year of my college, when I was not really sure how I want to pursue astronomy next, and I came across this internship. So before I came across the internship, because I had explored astronomy just a little bit in my first year of college, and yet I was frustrated that my professors or my classmates don't share the same enthusiasm. I had this urge that if I just get one opportunity, I'm going to grab it. This sort of enthusiasm I had, and an urge to do something. So I came across an advertisement which was on Facebook. And back in, I guess, 2018, I used to use Facebook and everybody else too. So there was this post that there is an astro camp happening in Rohtak, Haryana, for the lunar eclipse in the month of June or July. And I thought that's really interesting because I had never seen a lunar eclipse, and the moon was supposed to turn blood red. And they had telescopes, and they're going to show us using this event using a telescope, and they're going to show us different planets, and they're going to tell us the constellation. So this was like a dream event I could think of. And before this, I thought these things only happen outside India. But as soon as I saw this advertisement, I asked my parents permission that I have to see this. And I was back in my home that time because the summer vacation was going on. So I got the permission, and that's the first time when I went to an Astro camp. It was organized by a company called SciComm India. I attended the astrocamp, but alas, as most things in these astronomy or celestial events that we have, it was raining that day, and I was able to see the moon only for maybe 10 seconds or 15 seconds, different intervals. So maybe 3 4 times I was able to see the moon. But what I was able to get out of that event was I was able to be present at that event and watch some planets through the telescope for the first time, see a telescope for the first time, talk to people who were talking about astronomy, who were astronomy educators and astrophotographers, and a place where I was able to see the night sky, even though it was raining, but at least for a few minutes before it got cloudy. So this whole experience was surreal that there are actually people in India who are, going to remote places and who are observing the stars. And I thought this is really fantastic. So, and I was only one of the few people who had came alone. The others were either with their family or with their partners. So I did stuck out a bit. So the person who had organized the Astro camp, he reached out to me after a few months on LinkedIn. He remembered me and he was like, "You are in the university, and we actually offer internships to college students if you are interested in exploring this further." And that sounded like a fantastic thing. So I told him, yes, definitely. What's the job profile that we have? And that was of a travel educator. What is the job of a travel educator? They travel to different places and they educate about astronomy. And I guess that was like in my whole career till now, that's the only unique or, that has been only once that I have came across such, job profile. So we travel to different places. We organize astro camps there, similar to what I had participated in. The only condition is the night sky should be a bit dark and clear, and the weather should be not like in the middle of monsoon or either something else which might hinder the visibility of the stars. So 3 4 things we keep in mind, and we ask the permission of either a park or like a society in the middle of a society or somewhere where people can gather. So through this, I was able to be part of this company, Psychom India, for a few months. I did my internship there, and I had organized an Astro camp in Jaisalmer, which was a beautiful experience because I had gone there alone in December, and it was the Geminids meteor shower had just ended, and another meteor shower was about to start, and I was able to watch a meteor shower by my own eyes under the night sky in the middle of a desert, and the whole experience just filled me that yes, there are these things, there are these jobs, there are these things that people can do and make a living out of it. And it was all too tempting and it was all too fulfilling. And I continued to do that for a few months. And I hope to get back to that kind of work sometime again in future, more like, a dream job again with what I had started. So that was an astrocamp is like we have telescopes, 3 to 4 telescopes that we have, and we show the moon, we show the planets, we show the different constellations and their stories, and we talk about stars and cosmic meditation and a few games. Very beautiful concepts. They are still organized once in a while by the company Psychom India, which is based in Delhi, and I had organized in Jaisalmer, in Rohtak, in Lansdowne, in Kanatal, these kind of places. And in Rohtak, because I am from Haryana, I had also the opportunity to actually build the Astro camp that I had attended into even a bigger or a better place when it comes to astronomy. So installing activities which were related to science, which would attract the students more, and school trips could be done using like in a collaboration with a science park as well as with the company, something like that. So there were a few activities which were modified, or the fun activities which were already placed there, they were modified, or what should I say, they were marketed or they were branded in a scientific or an astronomy way. And we were experimenting with different things what we can include with mirrors, with glowing light, glow in the dark light, that whenever the school students visit here, they don't feel that this is a normal adventure park, but they also get the feel of something mysterious is there, something beautiful and breathtaking is there, using lasers, like making puzzle laser games, something like that. So that's what I was involved in.
Very fascinating, that is. Really glad to know about astrocamps and all of these initiatives. Also, my biggest takeaways from this response are number one, that all of these amazing initiatives do exist across the country. It's just that we are not aware of them. We should definitely be. It's not that these cool things are only happening outside. We are doing a great job. We just need to discover some of these initiatives. So that's one. And secondly, I think that we really, really lack peer interaction as an important part of our education system. All our system kindles is this competitive spirit, which is fine, but it should always be backed by this healthy interaction. And all of the kids should be able to find their tribe and, like-minded people. A usual practice I see in schools and colleges is that we speak of our interests. You might be, we are a bunch of immature people in school or college, and we might be shamed for speaking of our interests. And it's very, very important that we find like-minded people, we explore our interests, and the college, the teachers, and we as science communicators enable and facilitate these conversations. So I think that is a very important takeaway for at least me from this response. Also, at this point, I think people would like to know more about your background. But along with that, there's a follow up question that I'd like to ask. Because you mentioned that there was some disinterest towards astronomy in your peers when you were in college, after you found these communities, like while exploring astrocamps, science parks, and you talk to all of these people, did you see a distinct contrast in them? Was there a change? Was there a difference? Did your perception of people's interest in astronomy change? So, a little bit about your background and whether there is a contrast between your peers in college and your peers when you connect with them in such initiatives.
Um, like it really depends how practical these activities are, and are they actually able to change students' perspective, or are they able to get anything out of them after the event has been ended. So when, like for me at least, it had sparked a joy in me, and I knew that this is the way that I want to, pursue astronomy. Like I want to do it through informal ways, that is, I'm still talking about the stars, but I want to talk about them not in a classroom, but under under the night sky, where I am actually able to see the stars. So I need to travel to that place, and the students need to travel to that place, because then what they learn and they experience is unparalleled. And then maybe there's a higher chance that the students will be actually think about the possibility of pursuing this career, because they have seen the beauty, the side of it, not through just the images or on screens, but actually experience it how it used to be experienced back in the day, a few hundreds of years ago. So I feel that whosoever attends these things, whether it's astrocamps or whether it's hands-on activities that, let's say, I currently do here at IIT Gandhinagar, I'm working at the Center for Creative Learning Lab. So even here, when we are working on some of the activities and how they should be, introduced to students, we, as much as possible, try to work on the practical side of it. So once the student is able to relate or identify that, okay, astronomy is really a daily part of my life, the influence of sun on me or the influence of stars on me, not in an astrological way, but how much we know about them, or how the ancient people used to do it. and what you can do it from your home on a day-to-day basis with a very little equipment or instruments. So to actually increase that practicality, I think the students or the teachers or anybody who is able to experience astronomy in its raw form like this, in its practical form, it does changes their experience or their their view towards it. Yet this has not been adopted by formally in schools yet or in colleges, which breaks my heart because I see the huge difference that science communicators or all the other people who are working in the industry, the way we introduce astronomy versus how people need to study astronomy to actually pursue the research, to actually pursue a PhD in astrophysics, the path they have to follow, that is not filled all of these with the practicality of stuff. So I do see there is a huge difference between the way astronomy is presented in the industry and the way astronomy is presented or is there in the academia. Like they are really two separate things, and which is why I love to stay in the industry and pursue astronomy and not in the academia yet, because I feel then, like, even though I may be able to study it in more depth, yet I may lose the very essence of astronomy that I had always enjoyed. So that's why that's what I choose, to pursue it informally as much as possible, unless the schools or the colleges and the curriculum is at the par to actually be open to pursue these things and learn about these things or teach these things to the students in the way they should be taught. I don't think like astronomy should be taught just like any other subject, because everything is too distant. And unless we put in the extra effort, not many people would be actually be able to expose to its wonder.
That's a very interesting take. I really like your observation in the difference between how astronomy is perceived or presented in academia versus in industry, and I think it is true for all of science. There's a lot of value in going deeper into one topic, into focusing, giving your all to understanding one question, but there's also value in having a magnified picture of science, having a broader view of science, because you understand, you still have the beginner's curiosity and you understand the beginner's challenges, so you can connect better with the public. Which brings me to my next question. We've already talked about how we think that people, even though they're interested superficially with astronomy, about astronomy, they might not go deeper into the subject. That's not what they are interested in. And that's where science communicators like us come into picture. That's what you offer very specifically as well. That is short videos on Instagram about astronomy. And we know that people consume it because we see the obvious metrics, right? However, this is not a preferred platform, a preferred medium for scientists to disseminate information, to relay information to the public. How do you strike a balance then? So, we would love to know about your journey in content creation at length, and we would also like to understand how you strike a balance between public interest and validation from the scientific community. Because short videos, although they are very trending amongst the public, they are just not the preferred method for scientists. So, how to maintain that balance between what will reach the public, what you know for sure will reach the public, versus what scientists think is the correct way of disseminating information.
That has been not easy, the striking of the balance, but I'll start with the journey. So I had created my account, let's say back on Instagram, when it was really new. I think in 2017 or so, I had created, and I had created it as a fan page. So I used to repost other people's post or related to astronomy facts, this and that, like various things. because I never really thought that I want to be a content creator. Even now, like that's not something that comes in my mind. But when I was doing my internship and I was going to Astro camps, I realized that I had some pretty pictures which I can post, and even I can promote the Astro camp. So that is where I started using this account to post, okay, guys, today I saw using a telescope. This is where I'm currently headed, and share some of my experiences on that account. And that account, I did not had any of my friends or anyone. It was just like me sharing some part of my life without any filter with the rest of the world. Like whosoever is interested, they can take a pause, they can read, they can like, they can interact, and maybe follow me using the hashtags, like they would discover me. So that's how I had started. So after the internship, like because I had learned a lot of things in astronomy and a lot of things about stars and how to take the pictures of stars, I used to, let's say, share or document my astrophotography journey. Slowly and slowly, as I was going to these workshops and conferences, maybe some of the snippets I'm sharing from there, that today we observe the sun using a telescope. This is how it looks. These are the sunspots. These kind of things I started to share my unique experiences as a woman pursuing or exploring astronomy. And then it was after I had, I guess, done my or graduated from college, or still in the process of graduating from college. It was COVID, so it was a bit elongated. I saw this thing on Twitter, which was regarding a SciComm contest, and they were asking people from all around the world to write a thread on any science topic or make a video or something like that. So I thought this is something interesting. I will also make a video, and that's how I had made my first video, which was on the Perseids, or no, it was a Lyrids meteor shower, which happens in April. And I had asked my brother's help to record that video, and I had edited that myself on my phone, and it was very different. And when I had shared that video on Twitter and later on Instagram, by the response I had gotten was amazing. Some of the people were too focused, like my friends were too focused on the way I'm speaking English or my accent and the way I'm looking on camera. But the rest of the people who did not knew the real me from college or from the real life friends, they were just too happy to learn about this concept or this phenomena that we have meteor showers in a video rather than in a caption or just through pictures. Like because the pictures were also coming on the screen. So the response I had gotten was really amazing. A lot of people were sharing it. And that's why I thought, okay, I will try to create even more videos. So first I started, or I was focusing more on making YouTube videos, but then as soon as this Reels feature was out on Instagram, I really focused on creating shorter videos because I was able to reach a lot more people on Instagram through Reels than I was on Twitter or on YouTube or anywhere else. And that's how I started to consistently make more and more videos, because this was a way for me to improve my these science communication skills. Like I take a topic and I talk about it in as short amount of time as possible, like 30 seconds, 1 minute. Now it is up to 90 seconds, but in the beginning it was just 30 seconds. So which are the most important things that I should tell about it, and what is the other creative way to talk about these informative videos. So seeing from other creators I had in the astronomy community on Instagram, I used to recreate, or whatever they were doing, so I used to recreate that. And my only factor differentiating from them was I used to talk to an Indian audience, so maybe all the times and on the places they used to be in reference to, are we able to see this in India or not? Something like that. And so I started creating more and more videos. And because it was COVID and I did not had anything else, let's say, going on in my life, I was just happy to spend my time as much as possible in getting better, whether it's video editing, speaking on camera, writing the script, all of this on my own. And this was really beneficial because it after the internship, this content creation had gotten me my job at a startup, and even after that my second job in again a startup. And even now, anything that I do, the work that I have done on Instagram platform by creating videos or content in general, is a huge part of my resume. Like, or when I present myself to anyone in the industry, like they know me from the social media presence that I have, apart from anything else that I have done at a workplace. So I think it has been really helpful to me, and my intention was to get, like, my psychom skills should be better, and it should be able to open more opportunities for me, a door to more opportunities, which it has been successfully doing, and it has kept me inspired to continue doing this. But when it comes to scientists, so there's a mixed reaction, because not every scientist is going to be, let's say, not every scientist is going to say that, this is not the best way. So in my opinion, the scientists which have experienced some sort of experience of doing science communication, mostly through Twitter threads, and when they see my videos, because I also reshare my videos on Twitter, they are very supportive of it. But there are times, for example, right now, there was a discovery of these gravitational wave background. And it was not actually a discovery, it was just signal that, or it was just an evidence that, okay, this may exist or may not exist. But the way it came out in the media and everybody was making a video about it or talking about it, it felt like it is already a discovery, even though it was not. So I hired a scientist who was actually working on this, who was a part of the Australian group and part of this whole study. And they were like, no, you should include this in your video or that in your video, because it is not actually getting the whole point across. Maybe you should add this nuance to your video, because then only it is correct. So sometimes I feel that scientists who are directly involved in the study, when they see my videos, they are able to look at those little things, not just my videos, but any science communicators video on Instagram, like these reels and TikToks. They are able to feel like they don't understand that we just have 1 minute or 90 seconds to tell the, like, the gist of the information. They feel like, no, you should have included this line or that thing, or that thing, because for them it is 10 to 50 to 100 pages long study, and if it has been summarized into a minute, obviously we're going to miss a lot of things. And I guess that's where science, I should say, or the scientists sometimes feel a little agitated that, okay, why actually you made this video like this, and there are so many things that you could have included or done in a better way. But the scientists who are already doing research and doing psychom at the same time, from them I have never faced this sort of a backlash or an issue. They're always supportive, because they know that whenever we are doing psychom on social media, there are always going to be some of the things, there are going to be catch, some little catch, which is going to just be missed. We can't share everything in a short video, because then it will become a long video, and that's not the whole point. And the general audience, they don't want to learn the nuances of it. And even though we may get one thing or the other thing a little bit wrong, or it may look incorrect or maybe misleading, still the bigger picture, the point is getting across that, okay, at least there is this discovery, and the people know about it and they talk about it more. And the ones who are interested anyway, they're going go to a better resource and educate themselves anyways. So that's what I feel, that sometimes the scientists or the people who have been actually part of these discoveries, and they don't necessarily do a lot of psychom, they feel that their work could have been presented in a better way. Or the scientists who actually do science communication as well as research, I guess with them I have found some sort of support.
I'm really glad that you mentioned all of these little details about your journey. I know a lot of people in science who I think are doing amazing work, and I always wondered what is stopping them from, posting on social media and sharing their work to more people. But then that's the thing. That is what they face. How would I look like? How would I sound like? Where should I begin with? What should I talk about? So the trick, as you said, is just to start posting, start making these videos. If you think your stuff is important, if you think people should know about it, you just go for it. And that's very important. And also, of course, there is going to be this gap between scientists per se and science communicators, science educators, in that we can never really do justice to their years and years of hard work that they have been doing in a lab and the intricacies, the nuances of it. But then that's not even the point. The point is to get the gist of it to people so that people get to know what's useful, what's been happening, and to give them a window into this field if they want to go into the depths of it. That's what we do. And I think your short videos or any short videos work well with that. All we have to be very aware of is that we consult these scientists and not spread misinformation. That's the one thing that we should be very, very cautious about. But other than that, I think this medium is great to give people a window into a variety of topics. Since you have explored a lot of social media platforms, including Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, all of these, I'd love to know what kind of events you conducted on these platforms, what kind of engagement were you involved in, and all of the resources that helped you do this. I think this would be very useful for science communicators as well as people who are looking to understand your journey better. So, if you can tell us about all the social media experiences and all of the resources you used.
Yes, so I have been, I guess, on Instagram mostly active throughout since last 4 to 5 years. And in the beginning, as I said, I was not really using it to post either consistently or even post anything about myself. But during the pandemic, when I had started posting videos and I was very consistent, there was this thing which was the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. And it was one of my favorite events because it was pandemic and everybody somehow, because it was in the news, like this was the next thing in the news after everything COVID related, that okay, Jupiter and Saturn are going to appear very, very close in the night sky in December, and you guys can track it. They are really far now, but in a few days they will appear very close, and then again they'll drift apart. And because we could able to see it from naked eyes from most places in the world, everybody was talking about it, mostly on social media, because it was people were not actually going outside or busy with their jobs or colleges. A lot more people were spending time on social media, and they were seeing these posts and they were talking about it. So it was a very, I should say, a very hyped event. And if it was not the pandemic, I guess I would have been present at the planetarium and in Delhi, and maybe we would have organized some sort of, let's say, a stargazing session with telescopes. But because I was not at the planetarium and I did not have a telescope at my home, at least a bigger one, through which we could see them really beautifully. So what happened is I thought, and if this is the condition with me, a person who is this much interested into science and this much into creating content, then there are so many other people who will also be similar to me, who will not be able to see this event using a telescope, or they might have friends who would help them to even tell where is Saturn and where is Jupiter. So what I did is I tried to create everything online, how I can create a virtual experience for people who follow me. So I created a series of videos talking about the event, how it is visible from different parts of India, which websites they can use to track it, and how which settings they can use to take the pictures of these two planets. A little bit about these things. And when the event was live, 20 or 21 December in the evening, I went live on Instagram, and because people were joining or people were seeing the event, like they were also sharing their live view. Okay, this is how the Saturn and Jupiter are currently looking from Punjab, or this is how they're looking from somewhere in Bangalore. And there were a few people who were joining from outside of India, where the it was still afternoon and it had not turned dark, and they were really happy to see these responses, and they were sharing, okay, from somewhere in Canada, we are able to see the sky like this, but I'm really excited to see how the event looks from my place in a few hours. I will tag you in stories. So a lot many people, they were present at the live. And because the live audience, not all of them were on terrace and watching this event, they were just scrolling on their Instagram. They get a notification that, okay, Rashmi is live, and or they see their friends live. because two people were going live together. So that inspired the person who was going live with me, all of their followers who were also joining them, that okay, my friend is on the terrace and they are watching something, let me also go and see what's the big fuss is about. So even the people who were not interested in astronomy, maybe they had just seen this news somewhere or the other, and they did not plan to actually like seriously give it a watch. I guess even a lot of those people had gone up on the terrace, taken the pictures of this event, and later on, go on to talk about their friends who knew a little bit more about the event. So I felt like in this way, I was able to actually promote or make people aware about this event and engage them in this event as much as possible in this astronomical event, which I could not have done offline. So the number I was able to reach was huge. And again, I was able to reach that people who were not necessarily planning to watch the event, and then later on clear the misconceptions or the misleading facts that were going on related to this. So I had made several videos and I was like really active for 2 to 3 weeks when it came to the whole event and anything related to it. Apart from that, there have been other things like tracking down the comet Neowise again. It was visible during the pandemic. It was hyped because it was a rare event where we were able to see the comet with naked eyes. So, telling everybody on my stories where the comet is visible from this part of India, that part of India, which apps they can use to track it. So, sharing all the resources that I used to use through stories, through posts, to by going live, by taking pictures, learning astrophotography, all of these things. I feel that a lot more people, again, because thanks to the features of Instagram, these lives and these stories and these reminders, people were able to actually capture or be a part of this event or interact with this event in some way or the other, which would not have been possible if we did not have this app called Instagram and we were interacting with, let's say, only Twitter or maybe only Facebook or not even interacting with social media at all. And we had something like just a messaging app and everything was offline. So I feel like when like we have a science communicator or a content creator in science and they know how to use the app very well, all the features, they are able to take any science event that would have been happening and take it to a next level when it comes to spreading it across people, making more people aware about it. So yeah, those were some of the few examples.
That's really cool, and it makes a lot of sense as well. These astronomical events are a great opportunity for engaging people with science, and social media lives and interactions only make the audience wider. Even though they're not actually experiencing these events, they can still connect and engage with them, which is fantastic to me. While you were telling this story, I just got reminded that you also have a world record. Would you like to tell us more about that? How did that happen?
So that actually happened through something I explored, which was citizen science. And I guess I explored this maybe in the third year of my college for the first time because I was, exploring different ways of doing astronomy informally. I came across citizen science, which means anybody can do science. They did not even have to have a science background or any background at all. Like even if you have never gone to a college or a school, you can still do science. So it was science for common people, for the citizens, and I tried to explore it. And there were different things I could do with it. So the first one was there's a program called IASC, which is I guess a program to search asteroids, and it's open for everybody, like irrespective of where you are from the world, what do you study, what's your age or background is. If you have an internet connection and a laptop or a computer where you can download the data and process it, you will be able to participate in it. And I had participated in that campaign, and I had participated in that campaign thrice over different in 3 different years. Once, when the first time I participated, I had asked my friends to join me, but all of them backed off, and it was just me in my team, and I did not knew anything about the software. And I guess I was very naive to even learn about it on by using the tutorials. But the second time when I participated in that campaign again, that was a little better. I had made some discoveries of the asteroid, which were not new discoveries, but still some sort of discoveries of already discovered asteroids. But the data will be helpful to make their trajectory better in that way. But the third time when I had participated with my friends, in that when we had actually discovered two asteroids, and that was very fascinating because these two asteroids had never been discovered before, and we discovered them. And so many other people around the world every, I guess, month discover new asteroids, main belt asteroids. And it's a very fascinating process, that because the night sky has too many stars and too many asteroids, it's not easy for the astronomers to go through every picture one by one themselves. So what they do is they give that data to anybody who is interested in doing this work for them in very very small parts. They train them. This is what you have to look for, and this is how you have to report it. And if we get a report like this, we will try to look up this particular thing in the night sky. And if you're actually correct, and if you are actually able to observe it, you just discovered an asteroid. So which was very fascinating that me and my friends were able to detect two asteroids like this. And similarly, there was another event which was regarding an online sustainability lesson on light pollution. So this was by the International Dark Sky Association. And what they were interested in doing was, again, this was through citizen science, that we want to learn about how many stars are visible from different parts of the world. And they had attempted for Guinness World Record. In so what was the thing was, you have to watch the lesson on the light pollution. You can log into the website, you watch the lesson on light pollution, and then after you have watched the lesson, you have to do an activity, which is you have to go outside of your home and see the night sky and give us a report how many stars you can see of a particular constellation, from a scale of, I guess, 0 to 10 or something like that. If the sky is cloudy, or if it is, because of the either the light pollution, or because of the cloud cover, the moon, or the view is just not good, any of those things, you can make a note of it. Or if the sky is clear enough but you're not able to see all the stars, you tell us how many stars you can see. And through this way, all the people who had participated in this study and this in this lesson, they had given a report, an updated report, like what is the night sky condition in different parts of the world, which would give us a basic idea, like this is, these many stars are visible from these places. If more stars are visible, that place has a clear night sky. If less stars are visible, there is a light pollution. If no stars are visible, or maybe the sky was cloudy or unclear because of the weather, that there we have no data at all. So the association was successful in making an attempt like this, where a lot of people participated in taking that lessons in 24 hours. I guess the number was like 4,000 or so. So it's not just me who got the world record, but everyone who participated. All the 4,000 people who had participated, like more than, I guess, 10,000 or so were the entries. But when they actually, removed any of the duplicate entries or incorrect entries or incomplete one, then they got down to 4,000 or so people who collectively all around the world did some lessons and learned about light pollution, and through citizen science contributed to tell how many stars we can see from the different parts of the world. So that's how, nobody, no one scientist or astronomer or astrophotographer had to travel the whole world. But, through these programs, we can actually, citizens can actually contribute and help the scientists.
Oh, that's really great. I'm glad I asked this question. And such a brilliant public engagement idea. So many people around the world were dedicated into collecting this data and being involved in this study. That's fascinating. That's really brilliant. I would also like to bring up at this point that you are now an ISRO recognized space communicator. So, congratulations for that, and I'm sure you have many stories to tell about that as well, and about all the interesting programs that you're planning on conducting as a part of this.
Yes, so I guess this program started last year, which was the Space Tutor program, which was open for institutions or museums or any of the astronomy groups that we have in India, that they can submit a proposal that they want to become a space tutor, like given the fact that they are more or less working in the field of space sciences or promoting space sciences and research, whether it is something related to rockets, satellites, or even astronomy. So anything in space science they're already doing, or they are in the field of space education, they can submit a proposal to ISRO, and if they like it, they can be recognized as an ISRO space tutor. So that's what I had done, and it took me more than a year to actually get back the confirmation or reply to my mail. And I had thought like maybe they did not get my proposal, or maybe they had rejected my application, but that wasn't the case. It's just that I guess they had a lot more applications from other prominent institutes and groups. And because I was an individual content creator and like more like a one man army, so maybe my application was not given that much emphasis or priority. But I'm still very happy that I was, the first content creator to get selected as an individual content creator to get selected for this program. So in my proposal, I had written several things, and I plan to do several things because I already create a lot of videos on ISRO. One of the things that I wanted to do was actually cover the facilities that they have in different parts of India, because there's more than one facility. And there are so many different groups of scientists and engineers who are working in ISRO, but from different parts of India. So I wanted to cover those facilities, make a video on them, because not a lot of people know like what actually goes inside in an office of ISRO, and what are the scientists actually working on it, and how many are the scientists and the engineers in the different fields, because I even don't know this. So I had proposed one of the things that whenever I am visiting any sort of facility, I, as a space tutor, I will try to make a vlog on it or a video on it documenting the different things that are happening there. So, for example, now I'm hoping to go for the Chandrayaan 3 launch, and I'm hoping to make a video on the whole experience, and hopefully interview or even interact with some of the staff or the outreach people who are working there. But even if I don't attend the event live, I have created a lot of content on how you can view the launch, or what the Chandrayaan 3 mission is all about, and keeping everybody updated. Because I feel I have a little bit more responsibility as somebody who is associated with ISRO, because if I look a bit more credible, people are going to choose the resources or the information I share versus somebody who is, who does not has this recognition. And because I has this recognition and credibility, I try to use it as much as possible by, sharing anything I learn new on this specific mission, or anything in general, where we have any new update on their rockets or an engines that they are testing. So something like that, that whenever I visit these facilities, I want to do that. And the other thing was, because not a lot of people know how to get a career in ISRO. So I wanted to actually interact with the scientists who work at ISRO and ask about their journey, like what do they do at ISRO, and what do they like what did they actually did to get to that path, because I know different paths how somebody can pursue research in astrophysics, or how they can career, or how they can have a career in astrophysics even from outside of this research. But I don't know how somebody can join ISRO like a very well path. It's not that easily available on the website of ISRO, and even the scientists who are working there, I guess they're not that much social media friendly, so they don't necessarily go outside and share their journeys with everybody and focus on creating content, or doing the publicity. So I feel that maybe they need people from a bit outside of ISRO to actually share their journeys with the rest of the country and even the world, because so many students in India want to work in ISRO. And I hope sharing the journey of those scientists whenever possible, whether uh, you know whether it is just interacting with them via emails, or actually getting meeting them in person and then asking them these questions. Anyway, that's possible, not something that I would rather do as soon as possible. Over the months, over the years, I've tried to do that. That is, ask ISRO for the contacts of their scientists who are working on these different missions, and hopefully get to learn a bit about their own career paths. And finally, just whenever any mission is launching, because not all of the information is publicly released as soon as possible. So if they, because it was part of the instructions that we were given, that if you become a space tutor, we will be providing you some information in like sooner than the rest of the, when it is released for public, or any illustrations or animations, different gifs, or some piece of information that you need which is not publicly available yet, we will provide you that if you just send us a mail. So I have not yet utilized this because the information that was already present was way too much, but I'm hoping to utilize this feature in future, and again, and in the content that I make, so that I'm able to provide more information which is just available on the website.
That's really wonderful, Rashmi. You're doing a great job in exploring all kinds of things, all kinds of different arenas, different mediums in science communication. And I think the essence of SciComm lies in that curiosity. So I don't know about anybody else, but this episode has been very inspiring to me so far. On that note, I'll just ask a very quick content creation question again. Because space exploration and astronomy is so vast and complex, how do you prioritize or choose what content or what kind of content to make? What is your method basically?
So that is heavily biased on a lot of factors. The biggest factor being, am I actually free that time, like for 3 4 days when any news has came out, to actually make a video about it? Like that is a bigger factor than anything else. Because if I'm preoccupied with something else in the work, or I'm just not feeling in the mood of making a video, like I'm not up to it, then I may not be able to actually record a video, even though the discovery was big. And if it was some other time of the week this discovery or this news had been announced, I would have made a video. So so that's why I feel like in the content that I share, I'm biased. The biggest factor being like my availability there, because like apart from the content creation, I already have a full-time job. But the other thing on the videos that I do create, I again see, because I have been in this field from a long time and I have been on social media from a long time. What I feel is like the gut feeling, or intuitively, like, okay, does this seem interesting to myself first as a consumer? That when this news came out to me first, either somewhere in the newsletter or somewhere maybe on Twitter as a thread, not yet out, somebody has made the effort to actually note all of this down in a video. So when the news first comes out to me, I can see like, is this news big enough that it will do well in a video, or is this interesting enough for me to learn about it more? Once I have learned about a particular discovery or a particular science fact, if it is not topical, like if it is something that was discovered long back, it's not something that just came out recently. If I find myself learning more and more about it and have gained substantial knowledge about it, and I am, equipped with enough knowledge that I can make a video on it, at least a minute or 90 seconds long, then I go ahead and record that video. And sometimes, like, not all the videos that I record, I always share. Sometimes I don't share, because either if it was something that was just announced recently, if it was a discovery and I was not able to record it in, let's say, 2 to 3 days, then I feel like the time has already gone, and now it's not relevant for me to share that information now, which also inspires me, or which also pushes me to always release these videos as soon as possible as something is announced, to push my limits and make that piece of content earlier and earlier, or sooner as much as possible, and not later. Because then, even though I did the research and made a video, I'm not able to post it. So those are, I guess, the factors that I have. But again, it's also, first I consume myself, like the content, or the piece of information that I have, and then I feel like, do I feel good about it, excited about it, like what are my own emotions? And then sometimes when that is done, I feel like, okay, let's see from the perspective of the people. Will the people care about it? So is this something that they already have some information, or not? Is there something that I can use at least as an analogy or as an example in the video so that people will be able to relate to it? And if I don't have those examples, and if this seems like something really distant and something that only experts will be bothered about, not people who are just started into astronomy, then I don't think I should make a video about it. Like, this social media is not the best platform. Like, maybe we can have a newsletter in it or a blog on it, but not necessarily a video, because a lot more people will not understand it, and it's outside the scope of the video, like the nuances of the. So the elements of the discovery or the content, they have to be that the people are already aware about it. Whether it's a black hole, most people know about black holes. Anything that is about black holes, I try to cover it as much as possible, because this is something that gets shared a lot, gets a lot of engagement, and is always exciting. So black hole as a topic. Any news that comes, I try to make a video about it. Anything that comes with what should I say, something visible in the night sky, an astronomical event, like a new type of meteor shower is there, or a new type of comet is visible, any celestial event, because people can see it from the naked eyes. If there's a possibility that there is something visible from naked eyes, I definitely have to make a video about it, because that's where a lot of people get excited that yes, this is the time we do astronomy and we explore it, from our backyards, not just in textbooks or in screens, but actually looking up. So something like that. That's how my content creation process goes.
Very, very insightful. I think people have all of these questions all the time, and even I struggle with some of these things. So, thank you for that. I really like that you mentioned the human barriers as well that the content creators face, because sometimes we forget to see the picture from the other side. Science is happening all the time, but the content creator also has their own life, and they might not be able to report every event that happens, and that as audience I think we should always be aware and cautious of that. So thank you. Of course, we all know that you make videos and you love doing that, but can you also elaborate on the other mediums that you use for science communication? We have very briefly discussed your engagement with science parks. I know that you have been working on some science toys. So, would you like to elaborate on that? And of course, which one is your favorite?
So my personal favorite is, of course, videos, because the more I create videos, the better I get at it, and the more confident I feel about myself, and the happier I get by watching my videos and the progress that I have made. So videos, I feel, just are way too personal for me, and that's my favorite piece of or the favorite format of doing science communication. But apart from that, I have or am currently also involved in these science toys or science experiments, hands-on activities, which sometimes do not even require a toy or something which we can hold. It may be just a role play or a demonstration or something like a thought experiment, really. Or sometimes I may have a visualization or simulation on the screen and then ask my audience to look at it and then use those aids, which are, these simulations or something on the screen, which is digital, use those aids and then to do SciComm. So there have been more than one format. It's just that with videos, I feel like I'm able to reach audience in an online way to a lot more people with by just investing a little bit of amount of time. And it's like it's going to always stay there. But with anything else, whenever I'm doing anything offline, I feel like that's really not the same thing, even though it leaves a bigger impression on the people. Like if they actually experience it, if they are attending a workshop and they spend 1 hour learning about something about the earth and the moon and how they go about each other, of course they're going to remember this everything that they learn in a much more greater detail, because they are able to work on the models of the earth and the sun, maybe using clay or using paper, and they're able to experience it, and they're able to do astronomy in some way with their own hands. So that is also good, but I guess then the audience size is just is limited, and I feel like what I strive to do is like create that same impact but with a shorter video. And like people, they can't really sit through the whole lecture without getting bored for 1 hour, but maybe if I can make it concise in a way that they get the same information maybe in a series of 3 to 4 short videos, then it's going to be really wonderful and I'm able to reach more people. There are other things that I have tried, like doing, I guess, an live stream podcast on YouTube. And that was really difficult to manage because when it comes to live streaming and actually coordinating the whole thing, it was like you have to like prepare for it a lot, like all the things that you have to say. And but there's an uncertainty that people can ask you some questions which you may not have already prepared, but it's all live, and then you have to let's say give the answers or keep the flow going. And it's also something to do with the internet connectivity and how many people actually join the live. So I felt like the live streaming or the podcasting was not something that I was able to pull off that easily. But when I was actually in my last job, there I used to do live streaming, and we used to live stream like 3 4 hours every day. But we all had a dedicated system, a dedicated format to follow, and a team of people who was working. So everything was more streamlined, and I was able to do it because of which I had confidence that I would be able to do it with my friend. But alas, it was not that easy. And I thought, I'm happy with making a piece of content, already preparing it and finishing it, and then just sharing it without anything doing live. So those are the different formats that I have tried to follow. I have tried to at least explore the other formats. For example, whether it is science poetry or whether it is the science illustration. Sometimes, like not, I have not shared them anywhere, but I've tried to at least write them or make doodles on my own. Because what I feel is, as a student who was really good in academics until high school, and then like studying a subject like physics, I was not exposed to arts that much, or I was not encouraged to even explore arts. It's like the science and arts are two different things. But through psychom or through like the last few years, what I have felt is through these mediums too, I can explore science, and I try not to be hesitant. And on my own, I try to make some doodles, try to make something using some colors, some drawings that, okay, if this is this celestial object, or this is, a beautiful landscape I want to show, a telescope in the stars, how should I show it? Not with a video, but just projecting my emotions on a piece of paper or trying to write a poem about it. So not good at it, but yeah, still exploring and hopefully may use them as a means of psychom someday.
Very interesting. I was taking notes all the time. I think you have explored a lot of interesting mediums, and you'll continue to do so, which is fascinating. It's fantastic. So, next question is a very special one. This is something I've always wanted to ask somebody, and one important reason I wanted to have a space communicator on this podcast is so that I could ask this. So, space science is full of fascinating phenomena. If you had the ability to witness one of these celestial events up close, such as a supernova or a black hole, which one would you choose and why?
So it's a tie between two events. One event which we can see from Earth, and the other one which again we can see from Earth, but we don't know when it is going to happen. And they both are the most hyped events that we have in astronomy, which is the explosion of the star Betelgeuse or the collision of the Andromeda galaxy with the Milky Way. So I'll go first with the collision of Andromeda and Milky Way because from the night sky, like I know how Milky Way looks, or at least the core of the Milky Way looks if we are away from all the city lights and we are in the dark, clear night sky. And in about four, or maybe the newer estimate says that like 3.5 billion years or so, the nearest galaxy to us, Andromeda, is going to come so close, and it's actually going to collide with our galaxy, that we will able to see two galaxies in the night sky. So our galaxy and another galaxy. Again, I think this sort of event is just too beautiful to look at. Like I'm pretty amazed whenever I see night sky from a from a dark location, but seeing double the stars because Andromeda has twice the stars as our galaxy. So if I'm able to see twice or thrice the stars in the night sky of different colors and a new shape and constellations, I think that is something just from Earth. I don't even have to go anywhere else in the universe, just from Earth, but in a different time in future. I think that is going to be very fascinating to see and to look at so many stars and just to feel a part of the universe. That is something that I hope at least somebody gets to witness after millions and millions of years when if human civilization is still there. But that is one event I want to see. The other event is the explosion of the star Betelgeuse because this star is always dimming and getting brighter and always in the news headlines. Like I guess just like we have news headlines of two things, either an asteroid is coming and striking the Earth, hitting the Earth, colliding with the Earth, either that is always in the news, or something like when is Betelgeuse is going to explode, that is in the news. And so there's so many people who are, or so many studies which have been done, but we don't know when we will be able to see. And but whenever we will be able to see the explosion of this star, it will be visible from Earth, and it is going to be pretty bright and colorful, and we will be able to even see it in the day. So I am very excited, and I am let's say I sometimes feel that we may be able to see it in a few years. Like we don't have to actually wait for a long time, because there are some estimates that we may see it in just 10 years or 50 years or something like that in a lifetime. So I really, really hope that happens and we can see a star exploding and all the colors that come with it, because that has happened previously about 1,000 years ago or so. And there were so many people around the world, civilizations, they had documented it, how it was visible in the night sky. But people back in the day did not know what it was. They just thought it was a really bright star that was visible in the sky. But now what happens is we have so much information, we have the best telescopes, and everybody's waiting for it. So when that happens, I think the impact is going to be much bigger. And that's what I want to see, either the collision of a galaxy or the explosion of a star from here on Earth.
That's superb. I really hope you get to experience some of these events for real, and if you do, I'm sure we'll get to see some exciting videos, some exciting content on your social media. So I'll be looking forward to that. Again, if I may ask, so space exploration has the potential, of course, to reshape our understanding of the universe and our place in it, so to speak. And there's a lot happening in this area, in, of course, all over the world, but also in India. We are doing a lot in this field. If you could predict one major discovery or breakthrough that will occur in the next decade, what would it be? And how would you prepare the public for its impact and implications?
Something that I am excited about, and I guess most people in the astronomical community are excited about, are these missions which will go to the moons of our gas giants, Jupiter and Saturn. So currently, NASA is working on missions to send to Europa, which is a moon of Jupiter, which has ice and water inside it. So there are theories by these astrobiologists, people who are trying to find lives of or signs of life outside the Earth. So they suspect that there may be actually fishes or something, or underneath the ice on Europa. So there may be life. We can't say for sure that there is not, or there may be life on even Titan, which is a lake or which is a moon of Saturn. So because we have missions which are currently being planned and which will be sent in, by the end of this decade or the next decade, and we will have the images and the data coming from them. So we will finally have some breaking discovery that we found, like we already know there is water and there is, some liquid flowing, but there is a high chance that we might find something that we have never found anywhere else in, in our solar system or anywhere else in the universe. and maybe even some sort of primordial life, microbial life, we can find that. So I'm really excited about that. Really hoping like it's just a matter of time that when the missions and the spacecraft is all ready and all sent up, it has reached its destination, and then it starts doing science and sending us the data and the images. And just like we have, so many discoveries being made by JWST, I guess those missions are also going to do a lot, breaking news and discoveries and our understanding about, um, you know, other worlds and especially other moons, which we not necessarily think as other worlds in our solar system. That is going to drastically change. And I guess by that time, astrobiology, this field is going to be more popular and accessible and available in the academia, like more colleges and institutes are going to provide a degree into that as well, because we need scientists and other people working in this field to actually interpret the data. So what I can do to prepare for that is, of course, learn about astrobiology as much as possible from my end, and be friends with astrobiologists, my friends who are already studying biology or astronomy. I guess they will be on the intersection of astrobiology, so be friends with some of the people working on these missions, and then creating, any of the discoveries that come, making videos about that. Hopefully, by not sensationalizing them as we found the UFO, we found the alien, but keeping it still scientific. But yeah, I think that is going to be an exciting time that I'm really looking forward to. Missions to the moons of the gas giants that we have.
Oh my god, that is so fascinating. I am so mesmerized by our own moon missions. I had no idea we are planning missions on Jupiter's moon as well. So that's new information. I think I have a lot to go back and check out. Thank you for all of these fun stories, not just astronomy but also your personal psychom stories. They were very very interesting. One last question is one that I asked to everyone who comes on my podcast. So let's say if you had the experience that you now have and you were to relive your undergrad days, what would you do differently?
I think the one thing that, like, first of all, I try to think positively, and I feel that like everything that has led up to this moment has been significant in my journey. So if I would have followed some other path, I may not have ended up here. A lot more, let's say, the personal growth that I've had, apart from the milestones that I have achieved. But if there was something that I would have done differently, is that when I was in my second year of undergrad, when I was in my second year of my bachelor's of science, I had a choice. Do I want to study astronomy through formally, or do I want to go in the industry? And I have explored the industry, and it has been very fascinating and fulfilling. But one like upon inspection of like going back, and whenever I revisit those things, like I have realized that the reason, even though like it has been fulfilling, the reason why I did not actually prepared for competitive exams and went on to pursue a master's in physics or astrophysics, and then a PhD in astrophysics, was because of the lack of resources and a lot of underconfidence that am I able to actually fit for this thing? Will I be able to study this thing, excel in it, or actually make a career in it? And because I was not so confident in that, I decided to pursue astronomy through informal ways or through science communication, which I felt like was much more secure. Like it had its own ups and downs and uncertainty, but at least I felt more excited about following it because there was less fear of failure. But now, after I have actually been able to do things that have scared me, or actually able to understand some of the things that people study in the PhD or in the masters, and have been able to gain more confidence that yes, I can also do physics. very well, or the maths, if I put in the hours, if I do the work and learn the story of other people who have, went back to college after a few years in working in the industry. What I all feel is I love science communication and outreach and public engagement on social media and content creation, but there's a part of me which wishes that I would have continued the education journey and maybe gotten into research. So one thing that I would have done differently is actually gotten into research and then pursue science communication, not maybe as grand as this, maybe I may not be known as Roxy, but at least I would be able to make some astronomical discoveries myself. So that is one thing that I would have definitely done differently is have a lot more confidence in myself to pursue a field where I did not had any role models before me or any examples. Because I had some role models through social media for science space, science communicator, I was able to pursue it. But now I guess that's one thing that I would be happy to do it differently. But I don't necessarily have to go back. I'm hoping again, planning to do a master's or get a master's in astronomy next year from a really good college and give my best when it comes to university applications and everything because over the years I've gained more and more confidence and clarity what I want to do in life. But yes, that's one thing I really wish that I had not discontinued or paused my education because it's really not that easy to go back into it after working for a while. Thank you so much for having me. It was lovely talking with you, and thanks for the questions. I really enjoyed answering each one of them.
Thank you so much for sparing time for us. And that was it for today's episode. I hope you had a great time listening to it. I'll be looking forward to your feedback. And if you have any questions for us or for Rashmi, you can always write to us on our email ID or contact us on our social media platforms. We'll be back very soon with another super cool, creative, and inspiring story in science. Thanks for tuning in to the Purple Science Podcast. We share stories every Tuesday. Our inbox is always open for your feedback, and our DMs across all social media platforms, linked in the description, are open to your unique stories. If you know somebody who might benefit from this, do share the podcast with them and spread the joy of learning.